What's up, everybody? Friday night, December 4th, 2020. I think next week we'll put up all the Christmas decorations. What does that little kid in Family Guy do? He's like... Shout out to Shaheen Nuclei Graphics for the awesome artwork for this show. Monday, Wednesday, Patreon, non-Patreon. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a great month of December. And I have a feeling from this moment on, you're going to see a little bit of a change to what is discussed and what is not discussed on these shows. I know I have talked about this before. I'm not going to lie, force of habit. You know, that temptation brings me in and I get sidetracked a lot of times. Going to really work my ass off for the month of December to not only end on a high note, but just to give a little sneak as far as what 2021 entails. It's going to be a lot of fun. Tonight's episode, we're going to recap SmackDown. Roman Reigns, now, and not so much Samoan, but more Italian, the Mafia. You know, we don't hit people with chairs, we cut their fingers off, or we cut their ears off when they don't listen. Or if you try to go with thy neighbor's wife that happens to be in the mob also, you know, you get a little choppy. You know, look, Roman Reigns is killing it in his character. No question. But you could see that WWE is a little bit too out there with this storyline sometimes. You know, he's close to Jey Uso, then he's now beating up Jey Uso, and Jey Uso is, you know, showing sympathy. You know, like, make up your mind. You know, in defense of WWE with this storyline, you know, this is still a new path in the career of Roman Reigns as far as this character. So they're going to tweak things on the fly, absolutely. But, you know, this Mafia little twist tonight, I'm not sure. Me personally, I like it. But, you know, it's got to fit into the character also. So we'll see where it goes. We'll talk about it. What's up, Sam? Sam I am. We're also going to do pay-per-view predictions for NXT TAKEOVER WAR GAMES. And, you know, I got to give a shout-out to LeVar Roy and a few of you others out there that reminded me. Now, yes, I know the theme song for TakeOver is War Pigs by Black Sabbath. But people reminded me back in March. We'll do it later. I actually never finished the song, but I did add a couple of lines to it. I just never went any further of it. Yeah, Beavis and Butthead is the Road Warriors, you know. You know what really upset me? You know, Wednesday, if you notice, I've been wearing goofy shirts. 2020 being a dumpster fire, blah, this, blah, blah, cheese balls, 5 is greater than whatever. And I wear a shirt Wednesday. And I go to $6shirts.com, which you all should go check out. You'll get the same goofy shirts that you find on Amazon for $20, $25. You'll get it for $6 over there. If you order like 7 or 8 shirts, they drop to $5 a shirt. And I picked up every shirt that's possible that had like insults on it. And the shirt I wore Wednesday is I'm no longer affiliated with stupid. And I look at that as a general term. So when I was going to wear it a week or two ago, some people said, you know, that kind of sounds like you're taking a shot against somebody. And I'm like, no, man, it has nothing to do. So I even put a disclaimer up Wednesday saying this is not a shot towards anybody in particular. And guess what? Not only did said person and others get offended by it, but I got some really nasty emails. I could never win, man. I could never win. Shout out to Crazy Cruiserweight. Crazy Cruiserweight. What does Crazy Cruiserweight have to say today? Does this have to do with 2020? BC? Cody Hall signs with Impact. Wait a minute. Whoa. Is it Impact or is it MLW? Because I heard that Cody Hall was signing with MLW. So, look, he brought up the Vikings discovering America. Crazy Cruiserweight, you get me, bro. I love it. No, but with the Cody Hall thing, I was under the impression he was signing with MLW. So, look, I hope you tuned in to Wednesday, and I'm so sorry for the buffering problems. I figured out what happened. For anybody, I wish I had more money, because I would have bought a gift, a shirt, for every person that tuned in Wednesday, that stood there and watched me sweat. Maybe some people enjoyed it, but I was getting all these buffering issues, and it's annoying because I got 500 megabyte download speed. I got 30 upload speed, and that shouldn't happen. Sure enough, by process of elimination, something about me, and this might be good, but this might also be terrible. When I start something, I won't stop till I finish. I can't go to sleep and continue the next day. So Wednesday night till about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm testing things, trying to figure out things, and going on Google searches, because I use vMix software, and sure enough, bam! I did an update very recently for vMix, my software program, and there's certain settings that work appropriate with YouTube. And YouTube specifically says if you use this video quality, you got to use this codec, and you got to use this and this and this. And sure enough, I realized that I was using the wrong codec. Now look, a buffering is going to happen from time to time. There's no way to prevent that. But what happened Wednesday, all my settings were off. So what I did was I changed all the settings, and yesterday, before I went out for the night, I ran the computer for an hour just to see if there was any errors. Zero. Nada. So we should be good tonight. Cross fingers. But getting back to Cody. Cody Hall. Not Cody. We gotta include a last name on this one. Okay, so 316 says he did sign with MLW. Look, we just heard, this is news also, we just heard that Davey Boy Smith Jr. is no longer a part of MLW. And if you followed MLW the last couple of years, one thing that you noticed that they were really appealing, that really appealed to them, that would be the better way to say it, is the second and third generation wrestlers. They signed the Von Erichs, they signed the Pillman, they signed the Bulldog, they signed this person, they signed the Hall. So MLW, they like the second and third generations. But, what's happening now is when they develop and they do a little bit better and get a little... Now, Davey Boy Smith was awesome. Davey Boy Smith Jr. They were both awesome, but Davey Boy Smith Jr. He was awesome before he went to MLW. But now he is gone. Now, he's out of MLW. Cody Hall is in. Cody Hall, yeah, give him a chance. We'll see what he can do. The big question now is Davey Boy Smith Jr. going to go to WWE? Or is he going to go to AEW? Or is he going to go to Japan? That's the big question right now. There's always a possibility for Impact, and you know what? We'll get to Impact. We'll get to the rate. Oh, we got the quarter-hour ratings. Not only for this week, but for last week. Very interesting numbers. I'm going to share with you in a few minutes. But let me just finish up with Davey Boy Smith Jr. When I think about it, although I think he would possibly get a little bit more opportunity in AEW, right now AEW's their roster is stacked. I know this sounds cold, but Tony Khan implies that he didn't release people that he was going to because of COVID, and that's very admirable to say. And I'm not taking shots at Tony Khan, but it's very easy for all of you out there, for me to say, right now, you know what? I didn't get rid of people at my job, or I didn't get rid of people here or fire people here because of COVID. And it makes me seem like this great guy. But deep down inside, I said to myself, there's nobody I was going to fire. You know, where's the proof? You know what I mean? So it's very easy to say something like that, and it sounds good, it feels good. And you know what? I tend to believe him. But, you know, after all of this time, you know, and you don't release anyone, and who knows, if COVID didn't happen, would anybody have been released? Maybe some people would have left because they weren't getting the opportunity they thought they were going to get. But right now, their roster is loaded. And, you know, I had 48 hours to let the situation sink in with Impact Wrestling. And Impact Wrestling is already, you know, starting to push it. There you go. There you go. Kenny Omega doing an interview. Look, man, anybody that's been following my shows for a while knows I brought up many times in the past the close relationship Chris Jericho, Don Callis, Kenny Omega. Those three are tight. We've talked about it several times over the years, before AEW even started. And the thing is on the surface, for me, you know, I still feel that this benefits Impact 1,000 times more than it benefits AEW. However, this is something that changed to me in the last 48 hours. And we'll talk about Sting again as well. I've had 48 hours to digest that too. But as far as, you know, Impact goes, see, I look at it like this. I've been doing this since 1997, okay? Been doing this since 97. This is a poor example, but I think this is the easiest way I could explain it. I've been doing this since 97. And let's say in 2021, I want to do another show and I want to get a co-host. And I choose a co-host that, you know, has been around for a while, but only gets 200-300 followers or viewers, doesn't really get much of anything. And that person does their own shows as well. And then people say to me, like, DT, you know, like, why are you having this person? This person has like no viewers after all, very few and this and that. But the thing is that, hey, you know, if it livens up the conversation, if it livens up the discussions, maybe it can help him more than it helps me. But in the end, it could help me a little bit. And I think what AEW is doing now, I thought about this for the last 48 hours. You know who's probably really upset at this? Billy Corgan. Billy Corgan. I know a lot of you are not on our Patreon, but Mish and I last Tuesday had about a 20-minute conversation about Billy Corgan. And if anybody follows Mish closely, I think he would drink Billy Corgan's bathwater if Billy put it up on eBay. And I say that with a compliment. Mish is one of the most dedicated, loyal followers of NWA, to the point that he's one of only a few dozen that are on their Patreon. NWA lost so many followers and even patrons that they had to hide the fact that they only have less than 100 patrons. My point is that even Mish this past week admitted that Billy Corgan, you know, this 20-year plan, and you can't just blame it on COVID. This is a huge step back for NWA. Look, the Shockwave show. People were saying to me the other day, how come you didn't cover this now? I'm like, yeah, because those matches already aired on pay-per-view a couple of months ago. They're advertising for the first episode of Shockwave, Thunder Rosa defending the NWA Women's Championship. Serena Deeb is the champion right now. A little too late with that, you know? I could see MLW replaying 2002 episodes to just buy some time until they're ready to return. But you debut, look, limited, Shockwave, and then what happens? What happens? Tuesday night, we get the breaking news that the promotion was a UWN, whatever it is that they're affiliated with right now. They're doing their shows in California. California in COVID. Let's return to wrestling. So let's do it in the worst goddamn state as far as regulations go right now in the middle of COVID. Let's do it in California. So now California upped their guidelines and restrictions of what you could do, what you can't do. And guess what? They canceled all their shows, all their tapings for the rest of the year. Look, the rest of the year is only 3 weeks. But right now, with MLW returning, right now with Ring of Honor already returning, right now with Impact Wrestling, even before all this happened, they did 165,000 viewers, which I guess is decent for them right now. And now you do this intertwining with AEW and Impact Wrestling a little bit. I kind of compare it to WWF when they had a little bit of Smoky Mountain back in the mid-90s. The difference is, at that time, WWF was hurting. They were hurting. Financially, they were hurting. This is before the Attitude Era. AEW is not hurting right now. So for this impresses TNT. This impresses AEW fans. Yes, this storyline feels very one-sided. But then I started thinking about the roster, and I'm like, you know what? I actually would like to see maybe the Young Bucks versus the Good Brothers. There's Sami Callihan and Moxley. I'd like to see them tear it up in a hardcore match. Moxley's not the champion anymore, so there's no titles on the line. Somebody's even said to me, Rosemary versus Abaddon. You know what? That's actually not bad, but I'll go even better. Su Yung versus Abaddon. I think that would be even better. So right now, what it feels like is NWA had the opportunity. Why my thing's so cloudy? Shout out to Cloudy, by the way. But NWA had the opportunity to be in the position that Impact Wrestling is in right now. NWA losing Ricky Starks. NWA possibly losing Thunder Rosa. Possibly. It's not, yet. But that seems to be the case. You see other people who have left and gone in better pastures. Wade Barrett, Stu Bennett is now in NXT doing beautiful commentary. Absolutely phenomenal. So NWA could have been in that position right now, feuding with AEW. And because Billy Corgan is the last person to actually, under his own banner, under his own bank check, under his own responsibilities, under his own hard work, he's the last one to show up at the table. Everybody's sitting at the table waiting to dig in, and he's nowhere to be found. I honestly think Billy Corgan has hurt NWA just as much as COVID has. And he better get off his ass, whether he likes it or not. And I know Nick Aldis is doing a wonderful job behind the scenes. But at the end of the day, that only takes you so far. So now AEW, to keep it fresh, good. I'm actually liking it. Let's see where it goes. It's probably going to be a short-lived feud. We'll see some people show up in Impact Wrestling. They don't have fans in attendance there. And guess what? It also allows a couple of wrestlers from Impact to wrestle on AEW. Remember Cody with the open challenge for TNT? He brought in Horse's ass, or I forget his name. He's actually a pretty good guy. I was very happy when he got his shot. What was his name again? It was Horse something, not Horseshack. I don't remember his name right now. Warhorse, I think it was. And I actually was following him on social media for a little while. But if people notice, and I know Cleric mentioned it right before I went live, I have pretty much gone dark on social media. I ended up just going down the line. I removed about 70 people I was following. I have 3/4 of everybody else muted. I just don't want to get bogged down with all the negativity and the hate. And you see all those people the last 48 hours, two days ago, laughing at Sting, still going to AEW, laughing at AEW, laughing at Cincinnati. And then 2 days later, when that's dried up, now it turns to sympathy. Oh, we just hope he don't get hurt. We hope he don't get hurt. I think Sting knows his body better than you do. Personally, I don't want to see Sting wrestle at 61. If he hits somebody with a bat here and there, that's fine. Managers, much that were older, would get physical once in a while. But I will not go to the next level and praise or criticize the Sting signing until I know more as far as what his role is going to be. Don't forget what I said Wednesday. I think the weird interaction with Arn Anderson trying to beat up Hobbs, where he's busy fondling a clip for the last year. Now suddenly he gets physical. Like he never really ever gets physical. You know what I mean? It's almost like leap year when Arn delivers like one, spine buster. You know what I mean? It's like he doesn't do anything. Now Wednesday, I'm like, what are you doing? So I think this leads to maybe a change as far as Arn Anderson goes. I would not be surprised if Arn Anderson cuts a promo kind of like WCW, like at that time he had to retire abruptly because of his health. And he gave up his spot. Remember, he was going to give his spot to Kurt Hennig? You want my spot? You got my spot. So now is he giving up his manager? Is this 1998 or whatever it is again, where he gives up his spot to Sting? Is Sting going to hold the clipboard? Why do you need a clipboard? It's Cody in storyline. Clipboard. Clip my ass. So, more I think about this, I like it. Triple H today made himself look like an idiot. I'm sorry to say it. Made him look like an idiot. Make him look like an idiot. I'll tell you why in a second. First of all, well, that's me. Hey. No. You got a shout out. Let's see. Crazy Cruiserweight, the Impact thing was a joke on his part. Okay. Look, Davey Boy Smith leaving MLW is a big deal. Cody Hall, I don't know how good he could do yet. I've seen little drips and drabs, but you know what? MLW's done a great job with their younger talent. So if Cody Hall wanted to go to a professional company where it's a lot less pressure, I think MLW is probably the perfect fit for him. I really believe that. If he signed with Impact, I don't see anything wrong with that, to be honest with you. But Impact right now has, and you got to understand this too. Impact, post Dixie Carter regime, they have tons and tons of commitments, especially overseas. They got to keep those commitments. So bringing in an influx of talent, even if it's only 2, 3, 4 guys, and an interest in storyline, everybody who has deals with Impact Wrestling should be very, very happy right now. AEW, the only issue I have with this is what I said Wednesday. You have people on that show that have a hard time fitting into their episodes. You have feuds that they take 2 weeks off at a time. And, even Tony Khan said the other day in his media call, we can't fit everybody in every week. Well, you got to work to fit those people in, not bring in 10 other people at the same time. So I look at it like this. And this is why I'm good with this, with AEW and Impact. I'm good with it. A lot of the very, very young talent that is still on Dark, that still have not broken through big time on Dynamite, they're very young. There's no rush. The funny thing about it is, you want to talk about Griff Garrison, you want to talk about Brian Pillman Jr., you want to talk about some of the women wrestlers that are on AEW Dark. The funny thing is, if they were on NXT, they could be in NXT for years before you see them on NXT USA Network. You go and you look at NXT house show results from a year or two ago, and you'll see names on those house shows that you never, for the most part, ever saw them on the USA Network's NXT. So if it's good enough for them to be in NXT for a couple of years, there's not every wrestler has to blow their load simply because they're part of AEW. So give them another 6 months of seasoning, 8 months, a year, whatever it is. And at the same time, not only are they honing their craft, but they're seeing other people doing it. And yes, it might be frustrating for some. And if it is frustrating to you when your deal is up, who is that guy, the guy that was in AEW that fought Jericho that one time? Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank on his name. I don't want to sound like a jerk and say the black guy, but who is the guy that was part of AEW and he was mostly on AEW Dark? He had that one match with Jericho. And by the way, for those on audio only, if you notice people are responding a little later than usual when I ask questions, it's only because I actually lowered the buffer, time a little bit. So it's like 6 seconds before people, Pineapple Pete. It's like 6 seconds before people in the chat actually see what I'm saying. It's like 6 second delay. It's not for censor stuff, but it's to keep the feed flowing nice and smooth. And so far, everybody is saying the feed has been perfect. Thank God. Pineapple Pete. Remember him? Pineapple Pete didn't get fired from AEW. He just felt that he wasn't getting the opportunity he thought he was going to get. Personally, I can't critique the guy because who am I to tell him where he should work and not work? You know what I mean? But what has Pineapple Pete done since? Sell pineapples? I haven't heard him wrestling anywhere. So a lot of these younger people, if they're too impatient and restless and they feel that they could get a better opportunity somewhere else, go. When your deal is up, go. Plain and simple. So I'm liking this. I'm liking it. Let's see where it goes. Now, let me say why I thought Triple H came off as a goof. He did the media call for NXT TakeOver War Games. 95% of the call was great. I loved how much he put over Shotzi Blackheart. We talked about it on Wednesday. We talked about it, Mish and I, last week. Loving the progression of Shotzi Blackheart in 2020. She's turning into almost like maybe more older version of Bayley. And I don't mean that she's older than Bayley, but I think her viewership is an older demographic, not just young demographic. I think she actually branches out into the older demographic as well. But where Triple H really turned into a goof is when somebody brought up the cross promoting, working with other promotions out there, alluding to Impact and AEW's, and Triple H basically said, we're always open to working with other promotions, if everything is good, if all the stars align and it seems beneficial. And I see these people who weren't even sperm or embryos or gonads or whatever they were. They weren't even alive in the mid-90s. And they're trying to school everybody online like, oh, WWE never cross-promoted before? And they show a screenshot of Jeff Jarrett when he was in NWA. They did a screenshot of the Rock and Roll Express when they were in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. They did a screenshot of Devon Dudley and Tommy Dreamer from ECW. They did a screenshot of Jim Cornette with somebody from it. And I'm saying to myself, yeah, and that was all 20 plus years ago. I mean, you go far enough. I mean, come on, man. Seriously? Show me something from 2005, 2010, and don't give me Evolve. Because Evolve is not TV. So when Triple H said that, that's almost as bad as WWE just getting an award for their push for COVID prevention or like public service. Mish and I will talk about that on Monday. We're going to have fun with that. I mean, am I on a different planet? I mean, I don't even know if WWE's ever said the word COVID on TV. If they'd done it in social media, on TV, oh my God. You see, you want publicity? You have a little company want publicity? Make bullshit awards and then give it to the people that'll give you, look, you want to criticize AEW for doing work for Impact Wrestling. Look at the company that nominated and awarded the award to WWE, and WWE accepted it. This company is like this big, but let's choose WWE because they're $1 billion worldwide conglomerate, and they're going to accept the award, and they're just going to give a rub to this place. Seriously, come up with a bullshit award and award it to, and see if you get any response. Oh my God, that feels like that award was created and handed to WWE so the presenter could get exposure. Oh my God. What did Lion say? Everybody is saying facts. What did Lion say over here? Lion, WWF mostly are snobs. No, they're very smart businessmen and businesswomen. They're very smart. Oh, no, it's very smart. It's very smart. Look, when they first did those mass releases during COVID, I was one of the only people online, and yes, it was an unpopular opinion, but I was one of the only people online that said that was a smart move. You got investors. You're $1 billion company. You got to answer the stockholders. I know it sounds cold and everything, but when they have $40 million profit and they're not even doing house shows or touring, they're obviously doing something right, and their stock now is almost, $50 a share? You realize? You notice how these websites never report that the stock is doing great? Because when the stock is doing bad, okay, let's criticize WWE and this and that. But when the stock is great, it's like, damn you, World Wrestling, damn you, Vince. And then they don't cover it. You got to cover it on both sides, man. So Triple H came off really, really goofy with that earlier today. They're really, really goofy. So want to give a shout out to another super chat that came in. Which was the bigger day for Impact? 12-2-20 or 10-10-10? Well, look, we had some fun on 10-10-20. If you go back to that episode, we had fun. I put up there, here, and all that stuff. We're not going to go and bring up the whole thing again. But here's the thing, though. When they did all those, the August 1st warning, this is not Batista, but I could still kick everybody's asses. And it was Tito Ortiz. Look, remember, what's his face? Tito Ortiz, he's in the Impact Zone. Tito Ortiz. And it blew over like a wet fart. I actually heard somebody in section 315 go, actually farted. And it didn't go over well. Now, the 10-10-10, you got to look at everybody who was in the ring. The storyline was stupid. The reason why I say 10-10-10 right now is bigger is because, first of all, the ratings for Impact Wrestling was over 1 million at that time. They're only doing 160,000, 150,000 now. So they were over 1 million at that time. And look at the stars that they had on that roster. So, AJ Styles recently said if Dixie would have just let the roster do more, they would have been a much different position now. So I personally think up to this point, we don't know where this is going. I think the Sting appearance excited AEW fans, little nostalgia. And when I get into the quarter ratings, it'll prove what I said on Wednesday about Sting showing up. It's pretty cool when I get into it. But right now, I would say 10-10-10 is still much bigger because there was a lot of anticipation that it was going to be a big deal. It fell flat. I mean, you had Jarrett and Jeff Hardy and Abyss. I wish I could pull up that picture right now. Maybe I can. I don't know if I have it handy. I gotta. What I gotta do better? I gotta title all of my photos. This way I could just search for 10-10-10 and it would show up. I don't think I have it available. And you know what's going to happen? The show's going to go off the air. And then right before I log off, I'm going to see the picture of 10-10-10. I'm going to be like, damn it. Yeah, I don't see it right now. So we'll poke fun. It's never too late to poke fun at 10-10-10. So, but right now, it had the potential to be a much bigger deal, and the storyline was bad. And then holding that misspelled sign and pointing to it on top of it. I mean, you want to go grab a fan sign, you know, and you walk out and you see that the sign is torn. Grab the sign and make it look like, you know, you're taking a sign to put in the ring, and then because you're a heel, you tear it up in the guy's face. Get a speaking spell. You know, you dyslexic moron. But no, they take the sign in the ring and they smile and they point to it. I'm like, it's misspelled. 10-10-10 will live on forever. Absolutely. As will Pat Patterson. God rest his soul. Wonderful tribute tonight. Pretty much what we got on NXT. You know, that wonderful tribute. They did a match tonight featuring all Intercontinental champions in a match. That match was pay a little tribute to Pat Patterson, but it was also to further the storyline of Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan, which you and I have been talking about for a couple of weeks now. You know, look, I spent a lot of time Wednesday paying tribute to Pat Patterson. So I'm not trying to be cold when I say now I'm not going to do it again. But I think younger fans out there are realizing now why Pat Patterson, and I brought this one part up Wednesday that I will repeat now. You've had people pass over the years that were close with Vince McMahon. You know, maybe they became close in latter years. Others, you know, who were extremely close. Gorilla Monsoon comes to mind immediately. Vince was just devastated by that. But I truthfully feel, and I've always felt this way, that Pat Patterson is number 2, one step below Vince McMahon, as far as creative, as far as who Vince just cherished and depended on and was responsible. I don't think people understand the magnitude of what Pat Patterson has done creatively, you know, since the 80s. It's you have, that's why you see tributes, and it's not just young wrestlers trying to look great on social media by paying a tribute. A lot of these wrestlers have personal stories with Pat Patterson, and a lot of times Pat, you know how much he was getting paid for what he was helping them? 0. And I know some of you out there, unfortunately, have been confused with the accusations, trying to mingle him into Mel Phillips and others. You know, I know, you know, some people have made accusations over the years that, you know, Pat hit on this person or hit on that person. You know, it's very easy to say, you know, when the person is gone and this and that. But, you know, as far as the Mel Phillips and, you know, those horrendous things that went on at that time, you know, if you go back and you actually look into it, Pat Patterson's name is really, you know, he was accused at one point, but when you started to get depositions and you started to put 2 and 2 together, you know, there's a reason why he is getting this. I mean, you thought Mean Gene Okerlund got crazy love. I mean, it's unfair to compare the two, but I truthfully believe Pat Patterson is one step below Vince McMahon. And people, I think, are starting to learn why. So, you know, not the greatest wrestler, but decent. Loved his work with Ray the Crippler Stevens. You got to understand something. You know, everybody goes to the Sergeant Slaughter match that they had in Madison Square Garden because of the blood. Because of the blood. And, you know, you got to remember you're in a totally different era. So matches, you know, that people would start erupting the crowd because of a drop kick or because of, you know, a sunset flip, you know, it's a much different era. So, you know, you don't see anybody talking about how, you know, oh, Pat Patterson, you know, I base my career on his, you say that about Dynamite Kid. You say that about, you know, that Pat was more about psychology, telling a story, and he was very good, very good. So, look, 79 years old. I hope to live to be 79. I don't know if I would be content with 79. Like, if God came down and said to me, I'll tell you how old you're going to live to. And if he told me, like, 79, I'd be like, all right, that's older than I thought I would live. It'll suck when I turn 78. Hopefully I won't be doing this at age 78. But it is what it is. So, Pat Patterson, rest in peace. Nice tribute. Vince, you could see, was a little choked up. Nice to see the whole roster out there. And they weren't out there simply because they had to go out there. Almost every single person on that rampway in some way was they have come across Pat Patterson in a positive and a creative way. So 79 is a good run, man. Look, it's never a wonderful, happy occasion when someone passes on. But, we're happy for the memories. The people who are close to him, those are the ones who really have the pain, because they're not going to be able to make that phone call anymore. They're not going to be able to send an email, send a text message. I know it sounds weird, but I have never deleted my emails of people who I became friendly with over the years. If anybody remembers Bison Smith, he was in Ring of Honor for a little while and did actually pretty damn good in Japan. He was a big fan of the show, friend of the show. He emailed me literally about 40 minutes before he passed away. And I remember some jerk-offs at the time, because me, I always back up what I say. Nobody could take that away from me. And I had a couple of jerk-offs that I shouldn't have gave into, but they wanted to see the email, and I showed it. And there was no way for them to manipulate it because I shot video. I loaded my email thing. You saw the Georgie Ann's emails, Candido, others. Yeah, it's just something to look at. But for the family and friends of Pat, those are the ones who are really hurting, because even the little jokes here and there, they'll no longer hear. They have to just depend on history. So, anyway, so with that said, what do you guys want me to talk about next? You want me to talk about SmackDown? Do you want me to do NXT pay-per-view predictions, or do you want me to do ratings? Because those are the three things that we have left for tonight. I'll let the chat post their choices and majority rules. We're not going to sit here and wait for everybody to respond, but I will see. It usually builds a trend. By the way, Sunday night, immediately after the pay-per-view, I will be here live. I will PM Mish tonight and ask him if he's going to join me or not Sunday. He will definitely be on with me Monday night. So we'll see if we get a back-to-back with Mish. So, wow, everybody wants the ratings. I'm going to talk about SmackDown too. All right, let's get SmackDown over with. Come on, seriously. It's a 2-hour show compared to Raw's 3. And tonight, the show flowed very well. Let's do SmackDown, let's do ratings, and then we'll do the pay-per-view predictions. Don't forget. And I adjusted the sound for the music that I won't have any problems with YouTube. I didn't have problems in March when I did it. I won't have problems this time around. So anyway, as far as SmackDown tonight, look, tonight was all about setting up TLC. I'm not going to go in perfect order. I'm going to tell you the things that I liked, didn't like, a little confused by. Let me say this. Right now, we have 5 matches confirmed for TLC. And 3 of them are SmackDown, 2 are Raw. If Daniel Bryan takes on Sami Zayn, which honestly I think will happen, because that is a pay-per-view quality match. Nothing against, some of the other champions out there, or other feuds going on. But Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn, I think, is a little step above, especially when you think of, their careers outside of WWE. That has the potential to steal the whole night. So if you want to include Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn, that is 6 matches, with 4 of them being SmackDown. So when you don't see Bayley versus Bianca Belair on the pay-per-view, understand that this is TLC. This is not WrestleMania. It's not going to be a 5-hour show. So you figure 7, 8 matches, 9 if you want to do 2 pre-show matches, 2 on the pre-show, 7 on the main, and 7 is a lot. But, it's a regular pay-per-view. I mean, with obviously stipulations involved. So some of these matches are going to end a lot quicker and some will not. So my point is that some of the storylines going on right now, don't expect them to lead into pay-per-view. So right now, as a result of tonight and news that has come out, what we have for TLC at the moment is Drew McIntyre versus AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. We already knew that. I don't know if there's going to be any stipulation involved because, again, this is TLC. So are they only going to have 1 or 2 matches involving tables, ladders, and chairs? There's got to be some gimmicks added to these matches. But right now, it's just a straight-up match. You have Bray Wyatt, The Fiend, taking on Randy Orton. It's going to be The Fiend versus Randy Orton. Right now, no gimmicks added to it. Probably what develops on Raw will lead to that, but that match is happening at TLC. You knew this was coming. They don't have Asuka and Lana win 2 non-titles week after week and not do this. So for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler will defend against Asuka and Lana. I personally think that is probably, if they could have Reckoning, Mia Yim, have the feud with Asuka. A lot of people think that Charlotte may be coming back and leapfrog Mia Yim. I think Mia Yim is still going to get an opportunity. Maybe somebody gets involved in that match and it'll lead. But again, that'll happen after TLC. Yeah, you know what? Jane, you nailed it. It's got to be a tables match. Perfect. I mean, come on. How do you not, after Lana going through all of these tables, how do you not do a tables match? Oh, that's perfect. They haven't announced that yet, but that's what it's got to be. So you could pretty much, look, it's TLC, tables, ladders, and chairs. So, yeah, I like it. So I don't think there's any chance of Lana and Asuka winning the belts, but hey, if Reckoning gets involved and causes, something to happen, Lana gets put through a table again and they lose, look, I like the storyline they've done with Lana. I know a lot of you feel otherwise. I respect that. But, I think the storyline has made sense. I prefer this storyline than to have her have these wins clean against people. I don't want to compare Lana to Spike Dudley, but one of the hardest sells as me as a wrestling fan in all my years watching was watching Spike Dudley get demolished in ECW, get demolished in WWE early in his career, and then they turned him heel, and suddenly he was unbeatable as like the Cruiserweight champion or some championship. I'm like, come on, man. You can, there's some people that you can't do that. And it just was not. So I'd rather Lana be in this storyline where she wins by happenstance than to suddenly she gets these, roll-ups, clean finishes, this, that. There's always something that leads to it. She's getting good luck. Good luck. That's her storyline. Good opportunity, good luck. Asuka knocks out Shayna Baszler. Ooh, let me pin her. Come on. It's like you walking down the street and there's a $20 bill on the floor. You look, oh, you pick it up, and then you walk, in the store, and then somebody unfortunately drops like a lot of, woo, so it's Lana's got good luck right now. That's all it is. It's luck in favor of skill. And Lana's limited ability in the ring, she knows it, WWE knows it, creative knows it. We got to do a storyline based on luck more than skill. And it works. Mike, awesome. Like Leon Ruff. Yeah, you know what? When we get into predictions, that's actually the scenario that's going through my mind right now of Leon Ruff. So, yeah, hold that thought because, yeah, that's actually a very good one. That's a very good one. The difference is, and let's be honest, Leon Ruff is pretty talented. If you've ever seen him outside of WWE, he actually could work pretty damn good. Just, the size is a little bit of a disadvantage. So they try to, we'll talk about it. So we also got Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens in a TLC match for the Universal Championship. I think all of us expect clusterfuck. All of us are going to expect Jey Uso to get involved. Maybe someone else gets involved that we don't expect to get involved. But that obviously was announced tonight because of what went down, which I'll get into in a moment. We have Carmella versus Sasha Banks for the SmackDown Women's Championship. We all knew that was happening. And again, it appears we're going to see Daniel Bryan versus Sami Zayn for the IC title as a result of tonight. And you and I have been talking about that has been developing for weeks. So right now, 6 matches, still incomplete. Not bad, but, now let's fill in the blanks. Because we also had the return, it's almost like what happened with the Rascals, We had the Rascals join WWE. We'll talk about it Monday, the Performance Center. We look at that photo. Remember the thing I did with the restaurant, What Doesn't Belong? I wanted to do them, What's Missing? They had those in a restaurant too, What's Missing? And you'll see a car, and there'll be 2 tires, or 3 instead of 4. Or they had something missing. And I'm like, where's Trey Miguel? Now you hear that Trey Miguel may not be signed, and maybe he's going to go to AEW. I personally would like to see Trey Miguel and Ricky Starks team up as tag team, if you ask me. So what did Benjamin say? Jimmy is at home sleeping. Yeah. Jimmy is still recovering from injury. They got him involved a little bit, but, Jimmy Uso could very well get involved at the pay-per-view. So, but, so as I said, the Rascals, there's one missing on that Performance Center photo. Well, tonight, the Forgotten Sons of Bitches made their SmackDown return. However, there was one person missing. Can you guess which member of the Forgotten Sons of Bitches did not make his return tonight? I'll give you a hint. He liked to talk politics. Jackson Riker was not on the show today. Look, for those that didn't see SmackDown, we had Murphy, who came out with Dominic. By the way, if you look at Dominic's outfit, I should have took a screenshot of it. He's wearing like a red, it looked like a turtleneck, big turtleneck, and he's got a chain. And then he looked like that infamous photo of The Rock that has that black like turtleneck with the gold chain. I mean, all Dominic needed was a fanny pack today. And I bet you The Rock would have even tweeted Dominic tonight. But Murphy comes out for his match against King Corbin. And he comes out with Aaliyah, Ray, and Dominic. The potted plant was home, being watered. So the potted plant with the nice ass. And you had 2 people at ringside. This was weird. To me, they look like the Hurt Business, the love child of the Hurt Business and Retribution. They're wearing nice suits with a sweatshirt, hooded sweatshirt underneath. So imagine wearing a suit and you have like a hooded sweatshirt over it. It just looked goofy, man. But they're completely clean shaven now. You would not have recognized him. So you had, Steve Cutler and Wesley Blake at ringside, and they're just watching everything. Ultimately, they're beating up the Mysterios. This is one night that I actually was glad that Dominic got beat up just for wearing that. I don't know. There's something about it that I just thought, I don't know. It was just me. They attacked the Mysterios while they were outside. Now, Corbin and Murphy, blah match, really nothing to write home about, but how the match ended was, they ended up going outside the ring, and the Forgotten Sons of Bitches start beating up Ray and Dominic. Buddy Murphy tries to chase them off. When Buddy Murphy goes back in the ring, he's greeted with an end of days. And before you could even absorb all this, I think they immediately went to the Street Profits, hyping up the main event. And then you had the Acme Insta feud with the Street Profits. Street Profits are talking about the main event. They get interrupted by Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode reminds them that him and Dolph Ziggler beat them last week. And this leads to Cesaro saying, don't forget about me and Nakamura. So now I'm saying to myself, oh, God, please no. We don't want to see the Street Profits versus Roode and Ziggler versus Cesaro and Nakamura. But it seems like, there's no feuds for the Street Profits. They've done gots with them. Other than the New Day, they've done nothing. They've done nothing. Seriously. But getting back to Forgotten Sons of Bitches, I think they are going to be like the henchmen, the knights of King Corbin. So they're probably going to be on each side of Corbin, and these are going to be his lackeys. I don't want to compare it to Rollins, remember when he was doing the authority thing, and he had, what's his face? Jamie Noble, and who was he with? It was Noble and, oh my God, drawing blanks right now. But that's what it feels like. I mean, you're bringing them out there. They don't look like the Forgotten Sons because they're completely clean shaven. You would not have recognized them at all. And Jackson Riker is nowhere around. The Kingsmen. Yeah, James. Perfect. So that's what it feels like. So it is what it is. They're on the roster. J&J Security. Yes, J&J Security. Joey Mercury. I feel bad forgetting about Joey Mercury. But you know what? It's been a crazy week. I had the vacation last week. I didn't do a show last Friday. And I'm still trying to get back in the swing. What was the worst part yesterday? I was at work. And my plans last night was to relax because I came home late Sunday night. Had to work Monday, do a show Monday night. Had to work Tuesday, did a show Tuesday night. Had to work Wednesday, did a show Wednesday night. So I said, Thursday I'm going to relax. And then 10 o'clock I was going to record Kev. He was doing his Patreon show. And then I'm at work, and at like 1 o'clock, my fiance calls me up. She's like, look, I need you to do me a favor. They got to take her mother, because her mother had shingles. They had to take her mother to some doctor last night. And they couldn't get an appointment until 9:30 at night. And my fiance has 3 Yorkies, and one of them is sick and like shitting everywhere. And there's nobody at the house to like take care of them the whole time. They had to go all the way out on Long Island. So she asked me if I would go there and dog sit, and if I wanted to stay there for the night, I'll stay there for the night. So I'm like, because they weren't going to get home until like 11:30, 12, 12:30 in the morning. And I don't feel like going home at that time. So long story short, I go over there and they don't give me like the logins for the computer. And I text my fiance, could you give me the login for the computer? And she's like, no, because my father was doing bills. And, I'm like, fuck you. So I was there with my cell phone. So I dog-sitted last night. Didn't get any good night's sleep. I slept on a couch. And I couldn't record the Patreon stuff to boot. So tonight, it's just like the ending of a really hectic week. But you want to know something? In the middle of COVID, I should be thankful that I'm this busy, to be honest with you. So I really can't complain too much. So with that said, I said earlier that Carmella and Sasha are going to have their match at TLC. Tonight, they did a split screen. I think Michael Cole asked him one question, And, you know, they're trying to go off on each other. And, you know, look, they were trying to get heat on each other. The problem is when Sasha Banks calls herself the baddest bitch that Carmella's ever going to face, you cannot, after being beat up, and this is not her fault, this is WWE's fault with the creative, but you cannot, after 3 weeks of getting the shit knocked out of you over and over and over and over again, and then she's trying to talk smack to Carmella tonight, and, you know, what does Sasha do half in a conversation? There's no question that you have had tremendous success. The first person to win Money in the Bank, to win the ladder match, to do this. Don't give your goddamn opponent any accolades whatsoever. You call them a joke. End of story. But WWE, and I've talked about this for many years, WWE has this fascination, this infatuation. It's almost like a requirement. You show up at a diner, you know, no shoes, no entry. No mask, no entry. No shirt, no entry. Or employees must wash hands before leaving bathroom. Or you go to a job, must clock in, must clock out. In their storylines, opponent must praise other opponent during the SmackDown. And it's horrendous. Carmella is trying to come off as this conceited bitch, calling Sasha Nicki Minaj wannabe, and then, you know, Sasha's getting upset, and then Carmella says, oh, you want to make it personal? And Carmella says, you know, you're jealous. That's personal? You want to get personal? Bring up the lisp. That's how you get personal. These two praised each other as they're talking each other down. Carmella, you can't handle a hotter chick than you. And there's no question. We grew up in the performance center, and you're this, that. Big. My God. You see, I agree with you. So fly. Ric Flair used to do that. That's Ric Flair. Ric Flair didn't go on camera and say, I'm the biggest, hottest bitch. You know, he was different. He was class, wearing a suit, professional, showed respect, but he respectfully told you why he was better than you. These two, Sasha and Carmella, this is not their fault, but they're not playing the nice suit, well-dressed, well-respected, well-groomed, professionally speaking like Nick Bockwinkel. You know, one is saying that she's the baddest bitch on the planet, and the other one's saying I'm the hottest piece of ass bitch. Bitches don't do that. Bitches don't praise the other person. You son of a bitch, you cheated on, you went with my dad, but your hair is beautiful. You son of a bitch, you stole my husband and this and that, but, you know, it's a nice purse. But my God, they're just garbage in my honest opinion. We had Natty beating Bayley. Yeah, I know. What they're trying to do is Bayley versus Bianca Belair. I almost said Bianca Belair. You know, think about it. I used to love that Bianca. Wasn't it Bianca? That spray? I used to go to clubs. I used to have the thin thing. You know, maybe some women would use it as a little toy, but I used to, right before you go to the club, the cinnamon. Bianca. I don't know if that's still around. Anybody know if that's still around? Look, Natty is top talent, without a doubt. But just goes to show you the level of the roster on SmackDown. You know, you have Natty taking on Bayley. You don't know who to cheer for, technically. And Bianca is doing commentary, and Bayley keeps getting distracted. And, Banaka? I thought it was Bianca. Yeah, you know what? You're right, Banaka. Because I don't remember ever saying to my friends, why did they name this spray after a girl? Seriously. Like, I would go to the bodega, like, give me some cinnamon Banaka. I don't remember Bianca. I would have been like, Why did they name it from, it sounds like somebody from the hood. Yeah, Banaka. Do they still make that? Banaka. That stuff was great. Bonita. If anybody gets that, props, man. And you're old, like me. So anyway, basically what happens is, you had Bayley get distracted and Natty hits the sharpshooter, which I think surprised almost everybody out there. And Bianca's laughing at Bayley. And look, does it hurt Bayley's stock? No. Natty is one of the greatest of our generation. Maybe a little bit underappreciated, I think would probably be the right way to say. There's no embarrassment in losing a Natty. But if you just look at the whole thing, it didn't really make sense at all in the first place. So, yeah, Dorian, lying. Absolutely, man. That song, I still have it on my iPod. I had it cranking on my way to Mohegan last week. I was cranking a lot of old school hip hop. Tribe Called Quest, man. Awesome, man. We got to do that on Discord one night. Can't do it on YouTube. I'll get hit with copyright rights everywhere. I'll be off YouTube before I could even establish myself. But Franchise says, sounds like I did Thunderdome. No, I didn't do Thunderdome this time around. I didn't do it this time around. So anyway, Natty gets a win over Bayley. No shame in losing to Natty, but again, it seemed a little bit, blah. A little, WWE hit two birds with one stone today. Little tribute match. They featured a 6-man tag. Everybody in the match were former IC champions. I think probably the biggest news coming out of this match was Big E having new entrance music. I know some of your quick response is that it's very generic. I got to let it sink in. You hear the New Day music for this many years now. I think almost anything you kind of feel would be a little bit of a step down. But, music is not too bad. I didn't think it was that bad. It's almost like what I used to say when the Viking Raiders first came in. I don't care what their name. And everybody said their name sucked. I say, you know what? If WWE uses them right, call them whatever you want. Call them the Viking Clowns for all I care. Big E, if this is the start of Big E's push, maybe winning the Royal Rumble, if this is his entrance music, so be it. Seriously, I think entrance music is the last thing we should be worried about with Big E. So, but what did Mike say? Vibrant thing was the jam. Oh yeah. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'm just going along with it. So, no, I do. I'm only kidding. So anyway, they did a 6-man tag. It was Daniel Bryan, Big E, and Rey Mysterio versus Dolph Ziggler, Shinsuke, and Sami Zayn. Daniel Bryan, as we said earlier, got the win on Sami Zayn. So again, this is going to lead to a championship match. But basically, you had Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan at the very end of the match trading pin attempts, and then Daniel Bryan used an inside cradle. Got I don't want to say a fluke win, got a legit win, but Sami Zayn obviously is going to try to claim it was a fluke. I think he's even going to be on the Talking Smack. I think they advertise, so that's probably where they may lead to confrontation for the match for the pay-per-view. But after the match was over, and I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here, but that segment they did with Dolph Ziggler was one of the worst segments that I have seen all year. For anybody that did not see it, I will paint the picture this way. Basically, the heels were going to try to beat up the good guys. And you had Sami Zayn and Nakamura get knocked outside the ring. So Dolph Ziggler is inside the ring with Rey, Big E, and Daniel Bryan. And what was so horrendous about it is Dolph Ziggler is on one side of the ring. The other three are on this side of the ring. All Dolph had to do was drop down, roll out of the ring, and that would have been the end of it. Obviously, they wanted to have the baby faces all hit their finishers on Dolph Ziggler. But if it's bad enough, Dolph Ziggler is saying to Ray, we go back. Shake man, we go back, we go back. And Ray is standing right next to Big E. And I'm thinking to myself, the night that Dolph Ziggler cashed in the briefcase and got that in one of the greatest pops in the last 20 years, arguably. And he's saying to Ray, we go back, we go back. And I'm like, Stu Knotts, you should be saying that to Big E, right next to him. Over here, over here. But what happens is Daniel Bryan hits Dolph Ziggler. And Dolph Ziggler is all woozy. He's all woozy. And what does Dolph Ziggler do? He turns around and drops on the rope like this. It was so awful because it was so choreographed. If you go back and you watch it, I am a big fan of Dolph Ziggler. I'm not, but tonight, that was the drizzling shits. Go back and watch it. I know for little kids, for people that don't, that might just be a fun, they hit their moves. But like I said, Dolph Ziggler is being confronted by 3 opponents, and all he had to do was just drop and roll out of the ring. Yeah, the segment would have ended at that point, but in storyline, it doesn't make sense. He's like, and then, he's ignoring the history of Big E, and then he gets hit, and he's like this, and then turns around. Oh, there's the rope. Let me drop on there so Ray could hit me with the 619. It was so choreographed. It was so bad. It was so bad. Seriously. Roman Reigns. Kayla Braxton opens the show. Introduces Roman Reigns. She's granted an interview. Now, I'm curious because I didn't see anybody write it on social media. Did anybody, when they heard Kayla Braxton's introduction, chat room will tell me right now. Maybe they'll realize it now because I'm saying it. Well, when Kayla Braxton introduced Roman Reigns, and the way she introduced Roman Reigns, it kind of sound like a carbon copy of what another promotion does when they introduce a certain cleaner. Anybody think that at all tonight? I don't know, man. As I'm listening to Kayla Braxton bring up every accolade of Roman Reigns, I'm thinking to myself, man, that sounds an awful lot like Justin Roberts when he introduces Kenny Omega. Just my opinion. But they hit the ring. And, Kayla's having an interview and Roman Reigns starts talking down on her. I think he called her an amateur and he's telling Paul, you finish this. Disrespecting Kayla Braxton. But what ends up happening is Kevin Owens, franchise says, no, she didn't. Michael Gonzalez didn't realize it. Austin Nance couldn't tell. Lone Wolf said yes, reminded him of AEW. Go back and watch it. You see what I'm talking about. Reminded me exactly of what Justin Roberts has been doing with Kenny Omega. Not knocking it, just observing. So Kevin Owens comes out and, he's basically trying to call out Roman Reigns, and Jey Uso keeps getting in Roman Reigns' face. Keeps getting in Kevin Owens' face. Kevin Owens is basically, he wants Roman Reigns. And Jey Uso's accepting challenges and everything. But Kevin Owens, get out of here. I want to talk to Roman Reigns. I want a match. TLC. And as he's announcing, where the match should happen, I know. It kind of reminded me of the Kevin Owens show on NXT when, he knew preceded what was going to be next. So long story short, Kevin Owens challenges Roman Reigns to a TLC match at TLC for the championship, and Jey Uso kind of accepts. Kevin Owens calls Roman Reigns a bitch. You're basically calling names to get the match, and we got the match confirmed. Now tonight they were setting up tag team match. It was going to be Jey Uso and Roman Reigns versus Otis and Kevin Owens. So later in the night, little comedy. I think Kayla Braxton goes to interview Kevin Owens, and Otis shows up, and Kevin Owens is trying to call Roman Reigns an asshole, but can't say it because we're on regular Fox TV. And he's going, all he had to say was ass, but Otis almost said it. Kevin Owens stopped him. And then, they set up the match. Match wasn't bad. I think originally we thought for Roman, because Jey Uso was apologizing to Roman Reigns during the night for jumping the gun. But, Roman Reigns telling Jey that he loves him and all this stuff. But then when the match happened, the main event, Jey Uso comes out and he's by himself. So now we're starting to think, okay, handicap match. And even the commentators tried to play off that, maybe this was punishment for Jey Uso. But ultimately, Roman Reigns' music hits. They had a wild brawl. And, one thing I'll say that's pretty cool is when you saw Roman Reigns nailing Otis with those ring steps outside the ring and then just tossing it, that's the one thing that's pretty good that I think WWE should utilize a little more. And that's the fact that you only have LED panels around ringside. So you can kind of I'm not saying to be careless, but, you could just chuck those ring steps as far as it goes. And if it happens to hit a barricade or something and go over, you don't have to worry about little Johnny, whose dad bought front row tickets, gets a broken tooth from a ring step or something. But yeah, Dorian, those camera cuts. I'm so sick and tired of those camera cuts. One time as a joke, I was going to set up the other two webcams I have, and I was just going to do... Seriously, I was going to just the button. It would have been like this. I would have done it and just see if anybody's like. But you know what happened? My concurrent viewers would probably drop down to 11. So, but yeah, Brock Lesnar throwing the car door. Whose car was that? Was that Seth Rollins' car? Or was that J&J Security's car? I don't remember if it was Rollins. But I remember Lesnar throwing it, and that was kind of a disaster. But did he fling that door? So, but so the main event, it was fun. Good that they didn't call any DQs or anything earlier. Yeah, it was Rollins' car. I remember that. Wasn't it a gift from J&J Security? I think it was a gift from J&J. But in the end, Jey Uso trying to get the upper hand. I think Roman hit, I don't know if he hit the Superman punch on Kevin Owens, but he nailed Kevin Owens and Jey Uso hit him with the super kick. Jey Uso climbed the top rope, was going to do the splash. And then Roman Reigns, with the mics, very loud, this is my show. I finished the show. And he's telling Jey Uso to get down so Roman Reigns could finish the match. But Owens hits Jey Uso with a stunner. And then Roman Reigns, who was not the legal man, puts the submission move and, chokes out Kevin Owens. And they ring the bell. They never announced it, but it has to be a DQ victory for Kevin Owens and Otis. But after the match is over, Kevin Owens and Jey Uso both have chairs. They're chair bashing Kevin Owens. But then Roman Reigns takes his chair, and when Jey was turned, he wails Jey with the chair and wails him several times. And it was funny because there was one point at the very end where Roman Reigns pulled Jey Uso next to Kevin Owens. And Roman Reigns was in Kevin Owens' face. You're trying to break up my family. You're trying to break up my family. But if you pay attention, Roman is... I don't want to use the B word because some people get upset when I say that, but Roman, little bit, split personality. He disrespects Kayla Braxton, calling her an amateur at the beginning of the promo, and then later in the promo when he's there with Kevin Owens, he says, we have a lady in the ring. At the very end, Roman Reigns is beating the crap out of Jey Uso with the chair, and then Roman looks over at Kevin Owens and says, you're trying to split up my family. So it's almost like a split personality with with Roman Reigns. But it was funny because when Roman Reigns pulled Jey Uso next to Kevin Owens, if it would have been like a disgusting, adult film, it looked like he was going to put the heads together. It was, I don't know, it was just a little weird. But that's how we go off the air with SmackDown. So not a bad show. All designed to set up TLC. All designed to set up TLC. One thing I will say that WWE did good tonight is almost every match leads to something else, and most of it on the pay-per-view. Now, we don't know what's going to happen with Murphy. You know, I don't know what's going to happen with Murphy with the pay-per-view. Seth is off TV. Obviously, Becky Lynch is going to be giving birth any day. So, I don't know if Murphy is a part of the pay-per-view. Possibly, doubtful, but that storyline continues. Maybe there's a major announcement with Aaliyah and Murphy, if you remember what I predicted a couple of weeks ago. I shouldn't say predicted, but a couple of ideas. But I tell you, although the match, you look at just the match results, maybe a little bit of an uneventful SmackDown, I thought it was decent for the 2 hours. I actually can't complain. I really couldn't complain much for tonight. So, okay, so we got into SmackDown, and we also got into the matches for, little preview. Monday, there's going to be a handicap match. WWE's obsessed with Miz and Morrison being in main events against Drew McIntyre. This time, it's going to be AJ Styles, Miz, and Morrison taking on Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. Mish and I talked 2 or 3 weeks ago that we are going to see a storyline with Sheamus and Drew. You could see it planting the seeds very, very slowly. We'll see if Sheamus ends up turning at TLC or shortly thereafter. Let's do, should we do the pay-per-view predictions now? Let's do the pay-per-view predictions now. Why not? I completely forgot. Yeah, Raw is my least favorite show, to be honest with you. It's not easy to do a show on Monday with Mish, especially after you just went through 3 hours on Raw. Not everything is bad, but it doesn't give you a lot of inspiration or energy. I get my inspiration and energy, and I'm not just saying dumb shit right now, but I get my inspiration and energy on Monday night because I know a lot of you out there are going to be tuning in, so that makes it fun. Doing a show and looking at the chat room and seeing just a black blank screen is not, very enticing. Doing it with Mish, I mean, I don't have to prepare anywhere near what I used to. I could show up and I could have one of those Men in Black things put in front of my face and not know anything about wrestling over the last month and go in and just like a vegetable be like this. And Mish could lead me all the way through. So, you guys and Mish, make it tolerable, and that's not a disrespect on, my previous co-host, Kevin, but it was just a different dynamic. And, it's very hard for an hour and a half or 2 hours for both people to say, it sucked, it sucked, it sucked, it sucked, it sucked, it sucked. Oh, let's talk about AEW. Oh, that sucks. Oh, you don't watch AEW. Okay, so let's talk about NXT. So it's very, very difficult, especially on Wednesday But like I said, with Mish, he watches NWA, he watches Impact Wrestling, he watches Japanese wrestling, he watches everything, and he likes to cover little drips and drabs that a lot of other people would not want to. So there's always something to talk about on Monday. That's the bottom line. But anyway, we have NXT TakeOver War Games. NXT TakeOver War Games. And, I completely forgot. I totally forgot back in March when the pandemic was starting to kick in badly that, I had made a little spoof. And I don't even know why I chose War Pigs. I just, it's just weird. Like, you'll think of a song in your head and you're like, man, I actually can make a good spoof of it. And now NXT is using it as a theme song. I love the fucking song. I love this song. The song could be 90 years old and it still rocks. It fits War Games. It fits Shotzi. You know, they're going to probably have a new and improved tank as well. Just everything about it pumps you up. Yeah, maybe they went with an older song because their biggest demographic seems to be the over 50 crowd, which is fine, you know, but nothing wrong with that whatsoever. So a lot of you out there were asking me one more time to bring it back. So I shall bring it back. For the people that didn't see this in March, that might be a little bit newer to the show. Okay. People gathered in them. Oh, no. I have to get into this. No. We got to turn this up a little bit. No. I need a good yarn to really get into this. Because before, when I was preparing and we were going to do this tonight, I'm like, man, I got to really get into this. So you know what it is? I got to forget that I have people upstairs. I know it looks goofy right now, but what I'm doing is I'm yawning to get a nice deep breath so I could really kick in the vocals a little bit. Add a couple extra lines. All right. People gathered in their masses to buy TP for their asses. Evil cramps that spell destruction. Diarrhea in production. Drop those drawers and spread those buttocks. Oh, it ended! Shit the floor, who gives a fuck? It ended. I put the short version. Damn you! Seriously. Should we do it one more time? Should we do it? I'm pissed. You know why? Because I let that first beat go 2 times. If I only let it go 1 time, we probably could fit it in. Let's do it one more time. People gathered in their masses to buy TP for their asses. Evil cramps that spell destruction. Diarrhea in production. Drop those drawers and spread those buttocks. Shit the floor, who gives a fuck? War Games! NXT War Games. Thank God we only got 5 matches. I know that was horrendous. That was god-awful. But it is what it is. NXT War Games. Here is my pay-per-view predictions. See, now I got the deep breath. Ah, man. That's okay. Not going to do it again. That's it. No more. I don't think WWE will have another pay-per-view bringing that up again. So, anyway, Timothy Thatcher versus Tommaso Ciampa. You know, this one is hard to call for the simple reason that Thatcher could use a win, but I think Ciampa needs one even more. If Ciampa loses this match, where does this leave him? The storyline is stupid. Because Timothy Thatcher, which is Thatch can, whatever, that's old school. When Ciampa is talking that he's the last of the dying breed, old school, and he's not happy with the current climate of the locker room and the people of today, Thatcher is a throwback. So Thatcher does not make any sense with Ciampa's frustration. So this makes Ciampa look like the ultimate goof if he loses this match. I think Ciampa wins. I have no problem if a student gets involved, causing a DQ finish. I know we don't want to see a DQ victory, but I personally think Ciampa needs this win to make his frustration have merit to it, even though it's stupid. The storyline makes no sense. It makes no sense. But I'm going to go with Ciampa. So, next match on the card, Leon Ruff. Mike earlier said this. I remember everybody. Mike said this earlier. You know, Leon Ruff, good for him. He just got engaged to Aja. We talked about it Wednesday. I felt bad for Leon Ruff for the simple fact that when he won the title, you had all these goofs in the news world, you know, so-called news media for wrestling, saying that, oh, his reign is supposed to be comical, a joke, like he shouldn't. And when they had the title hit the floor, like it's supposed to be a mockery of the belt. No, I don't think it's a mockery at all. I almost feel like this is similar to what they wanted to do with Drake Maverick to a certain extent. Leon Ruff is a champion. He's uber talented, and he's in a position that he shouldn't be in. It's almost like the Lana storyline with talent, you know, with in-ring talent. I mean, Lana's talented, but, you know, her talent is different. So I personally think, yeah, you know, look, James, I understand a lot of people are bringing up the Mikey Whipwreck comparisons. Not bad, not bad. I mean, it's a little different here. But, you know, with Ruff, though, I almost feel like the best way that this could end, the best way, is you have basically a miscue between Gargano and Priest, and Ruff sneaks out a victory. And I can almost picture it in my eyes. Ruff rolling out of the ring and Priest and Gargano looking at each other, and Ruff still has the title and he's smiling and laughing and he's staring at both of them. And these two guys are going to be like totally like confused. Like, how did I lose this? That's how I kind of feel it's going to go. You know, if Damian Priest ends up with this title, pretty dumb way to lead to this. Because remember, it was Gargano that beat Priest. And Priest was not knocking those ratings down, as we've talked about before. So this is more storyline driven than anything else. So in my opinion, I want to go with Ruff stealing the victory. You know, almost like, you know, totally unexpected. And I could picture, like I said, I could picture him rolling out of the ring, shocked that he won, and Damian Priest and Gargano looking at each other like, the fuck just happened? Yeah, that'd be, yeah, have his soon-to-be wife referee the match. So, we'll see. So right now, Ciampa, I guess you could call as a babyface. So right now we have two baby faces getting the win. So now we got to get a couple of heels involved. Dexter Lumis, I've said for about 6 to 8 months now, he's my favorite wrestler on the NXT roster. It's interesting how times change. Remember who was my favorite? Anybody? Props to anybody who remembers this. Shout you out. Anybody remember who I said last year, from the beginning of Dynamite to the end of 2019, who I said my favorite AEW wrestler was? Does anybody remember? Major props if you get it right. No, AEW. We're not talking NXT right now. AEW. So I'm curious to see if anybody gets it. Now, the funny thing is you could just type the whole roster down. You'll eventually get it right. AEW, not NXT, chat site. Anybody remember? So right now we have 3 votes for Keith Lee, even though I keep saying it's AEW. Ah, there we go. There we go. Check out it. Good for you, my friend. Ortiz. I mean, I don't know. I just loved his in-ring work. I still love it, but it's amazing. You know, you look at it. And before Dexter Lumis, it was Keith Lee. But when Keith Lee, you know, had the feud with Karrion Kross and Keith Lee was going to the main roster, you know, right before Keith Lee lost, I just drifted to Dexter Lumis. I still like Dexter Lumis. Problem is, they've put an awful lot of comedy in Dexter Lumis. They've done it with him in Velveteen Dream, which never really concluded. They've now done it with Cameron Grimes, and I still think that we may end up getting, possibly down the line, an oddball pairing of Dexter Lumis and Cameron Grimes teaming up. Everybody thinks I'm nuts, but I could actually envision that. I can envision them having a weird, entertaining dynamic if they teamed up. But right now, they're having the match. It's the strap match. And although I want Dexter Lumis to win this, I honestly, for the most surprising things for yours truly in 2020, number one, obviously, is even though 70 to 80% of everybody who tunes into my shows still only access audio only, they don't go on YouTube. But my most surprising thing of 2020 is the amount of people who have gotten behind me when I went video. The second most surprising thing for yours truly, not Sting showing up or the Impact stuff, but the second most surprising thing is now I'm actually enjoying Cameron Grimes' work. I can't tell you how much I despised, or I shouldn't say despised. I was so disinterested with Cameron Grimes. I don't know. I just suddenly, I could tolerate him. I don't think he's half bad. That surprises me more than anything, because my uninterest of Cameron Grimes and my just wanting to, I want to drink a gallon of water knowing that he's going to have a match and I can go pee. I can't believe it. But I'll say this, I think Cameron Grimes is going to pull this out. They have used Dexter Lumis really, really strange. Like, you feel he's like this monster, almost like Undertaker-like, when you see how methodical he moves and everything. Even if you see the way he punches, you could see a little Undertaker in his offense. Definitely an influence. I guarantee you, if he hasn't said it already, sometime down the line, Dexter Lumis is going to do an interview and say that The Undertaker definitely influenced his arsenal. But they've used so much comedy with him, like a loss doesn't feel that big of a deal right now. So I'm going to go with Cameron Grimes to get the win over here. Cameron Grimes is going to confront the boogeyman and actually win. So I'm going to go with Cameron Grimes. Now we have the women's War Games match. Rhea Ripley, Ember Moon, Io Shirai, and Shotzi Blackheart versus Candice LeRae, Toni Storm, Dakota Kai, and Raquel Gonzalez. Man, what a difference 3 months makes for Raquel Gonzalez. Quickly becoming one of my favorite women to watch in NXT. I told you, it's almost like Sonya Deville meets China. Just something about Raquel Gonzalez that is clicking for me. It's not just looks. She's an attractive woman, obviously, and I love the Latina women. But she is really talented. Unfortunately for her, I don't see Team LeRae winning this. It's going to be Team Shotzi. They got to win this. We might have some interference, and this may lead to some feuds. We might have a little swerve here and there. But Toni Storm turning, now she could lose, and it doesn't feel that big of a deal. If she was the baby face and lost, you'd be like, wow, they're making her lose an awful lot. She just came in with all that momentum. And they got to give a little bit of a rub for Ember Moon. I mean, Ember Moon showed up on that bike going 800 miles an hour. We thought it was Bo Dallas. And Mama, I keep thinking of this. Mama wants some gold, baby. Mama wants a little gold, baby. Mama wants some gold, baby. That's all I keep remembering, that promo. Mama wants a little gold, baby. 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 You know what baby turned into? Seriously, this is what it turned into. It turned into, Mama wants a little gold, baby. Mama wants a little gold, maybe. Mama wants a little gold, maybe. Possibly. She's got to get the win. So I'm going to go with Team Shotzi to win this. Baby. Rhea Ripley obviously needs to win. I mean, you look at that side, almost, it's weird how you could say that Shotzi's probably the only one that doesn't necessarily need to win, but after the tank thing, come on. I'm going to go with Team Shotzi to get this one. So, that leads to, and we don't know which match is going to close it out, but this leads to the Undisputed Era versus Pat McAfee, Pete Dunne, Oney Lorcan, and Danny Burch. Baby. I think there's no question in my mind that Team McAfee should get this win. I am enjoying the Undisputed Era. We called it, you and I called it a month, 2 months before they turned babyface. You kind of felt that that's where they were going. Everybody else was saying, no, Undisputed Era going to turn on Adam Cole and he's going to be the babyface. No, it just felt like they were all turning. But right now, you need to try to elevate Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. They are the champions. Triple H puts them over. But unfortunately, for ratings purposes, they really have never proved to be like a draw as far as fans go. So you got to put a little bit of resume behind them. And a win over the Undisputed Era helps them tremendously. The Undisputed Era does not need to win this match. They do not lose any cred. They do not lose any of their, importance and their history and just the legendary status. So in my opinion, you got to go with Team McAfee to get this win. Pete Dunne is a monster. And Pete Dunne, telling you, man, Pete Dunne, I'm just really pissed at how they have handled the heavyweight championship. I called it. Let's be honest. I mean, I know you get annoyed when I pat myself on the back, but the day after that happened, I said, if this guy's going to be out 2 to 3 months minimum, and people are like, no, a couple of weeks. I'm like, you in like week 9 now? They did that one appearance. He said, oh, the cat is back. The mice go in the hole. What did the cat leaving for 2 weeks? Seriously, Finn Balor actually cut a promo 2 weeks ago. The cat is back. The mice have been playing. Where the fuck has a cat been the 2 weeks after that? I mean, sorry. The rats running around my house. I don't have rats, but if the rats running around my house right now, if a TV screen goes on and it's the cat on the TV saying, I'm watching you, don't eat the cheese, I'm watching you, the cats are going to go like, fuck you, and they're going to eat the cheese and laugh. In fact, they're going to sit down in front of the TV and they're going to eat it in front of you. So cutting a promo and then being on a pre-recorded video the next week, the cat is back, the mice better... It's so stupid. And that's WWE's fault. That's not Finn Balor's fault. But that goes to show you they have nothing as a backup plan. And they still don't have anything. Personally, put the belt on Pete Dunne. I have no problem with Pete Dunne being the champion. I know that sounds like a stretch for some, but I have no problem. If Finn Balor cannot compete, Pete Dunne is back, give him the belt. So that's your War Games. Simple, very to the point. So now we're going to finish this up. We're going to do the quarter-hour ratings for AEW and NXT. We'll do last week and this week, because last week was Thanksgiving. We didn't have that right away. I know you all want to talk about this week's numbers, so we'll do this week's first. No, we'll save it for last. We'll save it for last, because it's only going to take me 5 minutes to get into these. So, last week, day before Thanksgiving, very, very interesting how these ratings went down. With the exception of 1 quarter hour, there was really no major shifts as far as ratings go for the entire night. You have 1 quarter hour for AEW that took a nice jump, and you have 1 quarter hour for NXT that took a nice dip. And when I get into this week's, you'll see why I said on Wednesday that Sting showing up was not going to blow up the ratings. The following week will. By the way, everyone, if you're enjoying this episode, I appreciate it if you could give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And don't forget, hit that notification bar. This way, every time a show is scheduled, or if I record something in advance, you're notified right away. And definitely post your comments. Everybody who posted Wednesday and Monday, very cool. Been starting to respond to everybody's comments today. And I'll be doing that over the weekend as well. So anyway, let's do it. Last week, day before Thanksgiving, AEW. Now, I know there's a little controversy. Originally, NXT won 7-12 to 7-10. And some nonsense. And, the overrun was included, so it was really a tie. Oh, no. AEW actually won. And just shut up. AEW Hour 1, 691. Hour 2, 729 for a composite of 710. If you have followed the breakdowns, many times AEW's second hour is less than the first hour. So the second hour was slightly more, but it was consistent. The theme for last Wednesday's Night of Wrestling was consistency. And I'm going to say something later about this week's wrestling that not one person brought up this week. I'll tell you in a minute. So anyway, opening quarter for last week, Hangman Page versus John Silver only did 702,000 viewers. On the flip side, NXT with Candice LeRae versus Ember Moon did 805. They did 100,000 viewers more. So that just goes to show you, I'm going to go one step ahead. You'll find this amazing, and nobody brings up the breakdown like I do. Listen to what I'm going to say. AEW, Hour 1, 691, Hour 2, 729. NXT, Hour 1, 732, Hour 2, 692. They flip-flopped their hours, almost identical. AEW's Hour 1 was 692. NXT's Hour 2 was 691. AEW's Hour 2 was 729. NXT's Hour 1 was 732. So not only did they almost tie each other, but when you look at the hour breakdowns, the ratings were almost identical. You look at the quarter, it's amazing. Really interesting how this broke down. So Hangman Page versus John Silver did 702,000 viewers. Next quarter, which was the Kenny Omega promo, where you had the Darby Allin video versus Lee Johnson and the Taz promo, Cody Rhodes, all that dropped 10,000 viewers to 692. Not much of a drop. The Eddie Kingston promo to open up quarter 3, the Jon Moxley promo, and then the match between Top Flight and the Hybrid 2. That increased 5,000 viewers. So again, not much of a change. Quarter 4, which was the post-match beatdown by the Hybrid 2 on Top Flight, and then the Young Bucks coming to ringside to make the save, Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero's interview, and FTR's interview with Tully Blanchard, that dropped 21,000 viewers. Yeah, it's a drop, but it dropped very little. The only big change for the night, Chris Jericho and Jake Hager versus Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian jumped up to 756, an increase of 80,000 viewers. Now, you're going to say to me, well, maybe fans from NXT decided to tune into AEW for the first quarter of the second hour. Not true. NXT's rating for that quarter hour also went up. So you had almost 100,000 new fans tune into wrestling at 9 o'clock last week. Just want to point that out. Quarter 6, which was the confrontation with Moxley and Omega. Remember the introduction with Omega and you saw the silhouette and then Moxley laid him out? And then the Inner Circle promo and the very beginning of Hikaru Shida versus Anna Jay, that rating dropped to 748. Only a drop of 8,000 viewers. Not much of a change. The finish of that match between Shida and Anna Jay, Matt Hardy's interview, and then the that video package with Will Hobbs, Brian Cage, and Ricky Starks. Remember, Taz wasn't there. That dropped 38,000 viewers to 710. Main event, Butcher and the Blade versus Pac and Rey Fenix. You remember last week, the day before Thanksgiving, and I said a very interesting choice to have this match close it out. None against the Butcher and the Blade and Rey Fenix, but I don't know if fans are that into them to be a main event. That main event only drew 703,000 viewers. It actually dropped 7,000. So just to summarize it, the overall was 710, so this is 710. You had 702, 692, 697, 676, 756, 748, 710, 703. For the final hour, they kept losing viewers. Not big drops, but they kept losing viewers. On NXT side, hour 1, 732, hour 2, 692 for a composite of 712. Opening match, Candice LeRae versus Ember Moon did 805,000 viewers. The Toni Storm heel turn, and then the interview with Legado del Fantasma and the Undisputed Era in-ring promo they did, that rating dropped 74,000 viewers to 731. Surprising. Timothy Thatcher versus Kushida dropped another 34,000 viewers to 697. The ending of that match, the interaction with Ciampa at ringside, and the Rhea Ripley video package dropped another 2,000 viewers to 695. The Kevin Owens show with Leon Ruff, Johnny Gargano, and Damian Priest, and then William Regal's cameo, that only increased 11,000 viewers, very slightly. Remember, that's the same quarter with Jericho's match with Hager, went up 80,000, NXT went up 11. Cameron Grimes versus Jake Atlas, the Dexter Lumis appearance, and then the Rhea Ripley interview when she was attacked by Team LeRae, that rating dropped 24,000 viewers to 682. That segment with Xia Li and Boa when they went to the warehouse, the Grizzled Young Veterans attack on Everrise, and the beginning of Kyle O'Reilly versus Pete Dunne, that increased only 5,000 viewers. And the main event, Pete Dunne versus Kyle O'Reilly, it only did 690. That was only 13,000 viewers less than AEW's main event. So the final quarter out for NXT only went up 3,000 viewers. So now we do 712 as the composite. You had 805, 731, 697, 695, 706, 682, 687, 690. So even though they scored 712, let's be honest, Candice LeRae and Ember Moon is the reason they beat AEW last week in the ratings. So now let's do this week. You all wanted it. Now let me tell you right now, the Sting appearance, okay, I will say this. The Sting appearance, that quarter hour, and I'm going out of place to make a point because I want to get this out of the way. The Sting appearance, that quarter hour went up 68,000 viewers. You know, not a big increase. Like I said, a lot of people out there had no idea Sting was going to appear. So you don't have droves of people sitting on social media and, oh my God, Sting is on TV. Sting, tune in, tune in, tune in. Now, for anyone out there that thinks that fans were watching NXT and then changed the channel because Sting was on, well, I got news for you. That same quarter hour on NXT only went down 5,000 viewers. So you had people, and if you remember last week's, remember the quarter hour 5, which is the first quarter of the second hour? That is the quarter hour that sees the biggest increase week after week after week. So what happened this week with Sting appearing is nothing different than the first quarter of the second hour of AEW or NXT in previous weeks. Happens almost every week. A lot of people did not know. Some people found out and tuned in, obviously. But next week is going to be the telltale week of how Sting affects the TV. because everybody knows it's going to be on. So we'll see what that quarter hour looks like, and we'll see what the overall numbers look. So now, all right, so let's now do the breakdown. AEW this week, they beat NXT, 913,000 viewers to 658. Impressive. We all said they have to do better than 850. They did 913. Now, one thing I will finish the show with, and it will have to do with Tony Khan. Tony Khan, in my opinion, made a real dumb mistake. And we'll close out the show with that. But first. So AEW, hour one, 889,000 viewers. Who's Dad? Big shout out to Who's Dad. Hey, this, they're all worthy of a shout out. But Who's Dad? Listening to me for 10 years, and I've entertained him more than wrestling. I mean, I can't thank you enough, my friend. That's awesome. It's very humbling, and I'm glad that I could do that. I'm here for all of you, seriously. Anybody thinks that, I'm doing this and breaking the bank, and, no, I've been doing this since 97. I worked my ass off all of these years. I should have gone to YouTube 5, 6, 7 years ago, but didn't. Better late than never. But the bottom line is, the tone of the shows is positive, having fun, just talking real conversation. Sometimes, gets real life here and there, but, that's ultimate compliment. And I thank you for that. I really do. So I really appreciate that. Thank you. So, AEW, hour one, 889,000 viewers. Hour two, 938 for a composite of 913. For a second week in a row, second hour did better than the first. So here we go. Hour one, AEW, the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal, did 844,000 viewers. Not bad. Remember, we said we thought anything above 850 would be considered decent for what we had this week, especially the build for Moxley versus Omega. That match is going to surprise people. The numbers. Oh, I can't wait. So the Battle Royal did 844. The next quarter hour, Jericho versus Kazarian, that increased to 55,000 viewers to 899,000. The third quarter hour, which was the tease of the Inner Circle splitting and the hype for next week, the ultimatum, and then the backstage segment with the Young Bucks, the Acclaim, they did that rap on the Young Bucks and the TH2 attack. That increased 41,000 viewers to 940,000. That quarter hour had no wrestling, for the most part, nothing. And they did a better number than the previous quarter. Now, quarter four, which was Layla Hirsch and Britt Baker, the Thunder Rosa, brawl that happened afterwards. And then the confrontation, and following the confrontation, the very beginning of Cody and Darby versus Ricky and Powerhouse Hobbs, that rating dropped 66,000 viewers to 874,000. Hey, it is what it is. I mean, Britt Baker says, you want to see women's wrestling, don't change the channel. Her quarter hour went down 68,000. Can't blame it on Cody and Darby versus Will Hobbs and Starks, because that match and then Sting's appearance, that increased 68,000 viewers to 942. So that quarter hour was in line with a lot of other quarters for the night. So not a huge increase. Next week will tell the tale. But still, very decent numbers across the board. You had quarter six was the Jon Moxley promo, Hikaru Shida's interview where she got spooked, the preview of next week's night, and the very beginning, the introductions for Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley. That quarter hour dropped 31,000 viewers to 911,000. The first half, because the Moxley-Omega match went 2 quarters. You're going to find this interesting. The first half of Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley increased 41,000 viewers to 952,000. The second half of that match, and Kenny Omega leaving with Don Callis, that quarter hour dropped 7,000 viewers to 945. Surprising, right? Usually that final quarter is where you see the jolt. They lost viewers. I don't know. Did they go to NXT? We'll find out. So, 913 is the average. Here we go. 844, 899, 940, 874, 942, 911, 952, 945. Remember last week I said, I bet you're going to see this? It's pretty much what you got. So now we go to NXT. NXT took a beating. And I don't blame it, because some of the matches were very confusing that they decided to put that on. But here we go. Hour 1, 684. Hour 2, 632 for a composite of 658. Second half of the show, ratings went down. And check out these numbers. The Pat Patterson tribute, and then Leon Ruff and Damian Priest versus Santos Escobar and Raul Mendoza. The majority of that match opened up with 718,000 viewers. The ending of that match and the video of the Undisputed Era in the restaurant, that rating dropped 17,000 viewers to 701,000. The third quarter hour, which was the Team LeRae interview, Cameron Grimes versus August Gray, and then the post-match incident where Cameron threw Gray out the ring, Dexter Lumis came back in with the strap. That quarter hour dropped another 13,000 viewers to 668. So you see, numbers keep going down. Doesn't end there. Jake Atlas versus Tony Nese, and then Jake Atlas's inspiring promo after. Take 3 steps back, 1 big step forward. The ratings dropped 21,000 viewers to 647. Pat McAfee's promo and the training session with Xia Li and Boa, that dropped another 5,000 viewers to 642. Every quarter hour went down except for the main event. Let me continue. Fabian Aichner and Marcel Barthel versus the Grizzled Young Veterans. Remember all that bullshit with Everrise? That rating dropped 23,000 viewers to 619. Quarter 7, the Thatch Can segment where Ciampa got involved and the student got involved. They had the rundown for the War Games card and then the Thatcher interview. He was very impressed of his student. That dropped 42,000 viewers to 577. It continues what I've been saying for months. Timothy Thatcher, nothing personal, draws close to every time the lowest ratings of NXT. Every quarter he's involved. Never forget that Gargano match that he had with him. You had all the NXT wrestlers banging the plexiglass energy, and I'm like, if this was alive, kind of be dead. And the quarter hour was the worst quarter of the night. So, they had 577,000 viewers. So the main event, Raquel Gonzalez versus Shotzi Blackheart, a ladder match for the advantage in War Games. Now remember, that last quarter for AEW, they lost 7,000 viewers. That was the world title match. And what happened afterwards? They lost viewers. Do you know Raquel Gonzalez and Shotzi Blackheart, that ladder match, went up 112,000 viewers to 689. You look at 2 weeks in a row, you have the women's match blowing the doors out of everything else. Just mentioning it. So, 658 is the average. We open up quarter hour 1, 718. Check this out. This is the night. Watch this. 658 is the average. Ready? 718, 701, 668, 647, 642, 619, 577, 689. Every quarter hour went down except for the main event. Pretty amazing. I'm telling you, this is why I love doing the quarter hour breakdowns, because you see the trends. You see the trends of certain people. You know, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors involved. And like I said, you know, I know demos are important. Absolutely, no question. But demos are important for the companies and the advertisers and executives. Like I said, you don't see these goofs that do sports that cover, they don't talk about demo. Leave it to the people involved in the companies. These websites use demos to manipulate the numbers to put in favor who they favor. And most of the time it's AEW. AEW could lose in the ratings, but they won this demographic. Well, guess what? You could win the demographic, but if you still have 200,000 less people in that demographic than you did 3 months ago, there's a problem. And nobody talks about that. So now, I close out with this. I personally think Tony Khan has every reason to be ecstatic with what went down this week. The numbers overall, excellent. Remember, TNT has a $175 million deal with AEW. So if AEW wants to spend a little money to bring in a legend, personally, somebody said to me, DT, who would you bring in that's a legend that could still actually do a match or two? I got the perfect answer. And if anybody's followed him recently, knows this man is in arguably the best shape he's been in the last 10 years, 5 years if you want to really be specific. I think this guy could actually still have a decent match. I kind of fear that people will start comparing it more to TNA than anything else. I wonder if anybody in the chat room knows who I am talking about. There is one person, James Edward. Kurt Angle. I want to see Kurt Angle in AEW. I know, look, I said this on Twitter. Look, I have gone dark on Twitter for the most part. I've tweeted once, I think, in the last 3 days. I'm trying to stay away from social media because it's just toxic. The more you stay away, the more you see the weirdness that goes on. And I'm just trying to focus on, you know, what makes me happy, and this is one of them, all of you, seriously. I don't mind nostalgia once in a while. Mike Tyson brought me back to 25 years ago. And I brought back a lot of memories with me and my friends and just hanging out. And I remember where I was when he got knocked out from Buster Douglas. And, you know, Mike Tyson is a good story. Had a lot of horrible shit in the middle. But, you know, to see him come back this far, you know, what bothers me is there's a lot of people out there that get angry when they see people enjoying something that they don't enjoy. They get angry. You all felt that anger that was being portrayed on social media about Mike Tyson. You know, just leave it alone. So it's a little nostalgia. Sting showing up. Again, we have no idea what Sting is going to do yet. So I like nostalgia. I don't mind it once in a while. So they're not going to turn around and make every storyline, the most important storylines, focused around Sting. So, you know, look, he's not going to open up the show, be the repeat, and then the quarter hour before the first hour, and then the quarter hour, and then close out. We're not going to have 5 segments of Sting every week. You know, it's just going to be a tiny little cog in a wheel. Little something for everybody. Little nostalgia is nice. And I want to see what they're going to do with him. He's there. He looks good. If he thinks he can have a match, he knows his body better than any of us. One thing that was absent, now you'll start seeing it because all the goofs that ripped on this with Sting are starting to realize, oh, I better change my tune. And suddenly all the jokes turn into sympathy. Remember the formula? But I'll say this. Sting has entertained me since the 80s. His injury to Seth Rollins, it sucked. The buckle bombs, you know, they banned it. They banned it because it was too risky to injure. It wasn't because Sting is so fucking careless. He didn't know how to take the buckle bomb. You know what? We're going to ban it. And when anybody bitches and says, why are they banning the buckle bomb? We'll blame Sting. No. Shit happens. He got injured. Serious injury. It sucked that happened. Nobody was complaining about Sting's in-ring work before that injury. Nobody complained at all. Yes, it's 5 years later. Absolutely. My point is, when I think back of Sting's entire career, was he one of my absolute favorites throughout his career? No. But my point is, from the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, now 2020, he's entertained me so much. I can't think, maybe the main event Mafia stuff was kind of but this man has had one of the best careers in the history of wrestling. He's entertained me so much. I can't remember spurts of his career. I'm like, oh, he sucked here. Oh, this sucked. This sucked. One thing's for sure, nothing's for sure. He's had such a great career. Why am I going to knock it now? The man has earned my appreciation that if he still put it this way, up until this point, all the judgments he's made being on TV have actually worked out. So this man knows his body better than we do. This man wants to manage, GM, authority figure, whatever he does. I trust he knows his body and his future better than me or you or anybody else out there. And, you know, it's just that people have that desperate need to always be part of every conversation, you know, and just stay away from the noise. It's a little bit of nostalgia. Enjoy it, because 5-10 years from now, that nostalgia is going to be gone. I didn't hear anybody bitching and complaining when the Ultimate Warrior came back. When the Ultimate Warrior first came back with the Hall of Fame speech, I don't recall anybody bitching and complaining. Oh, is he gonna have a fucking match? Look at him. No, everybody was just nostalgia. How old was the Ultimate Warrior when he died? Could someone check it for me really quick? How old was the Ultimate Warrior when he died? We have no idea what Sting is going to do in AEW. And for the people out there trying to cause controversy because AEW's website has a win-loss record next to Sting, you know, I don't play into that at all. If they want to tease that he might, that's just to create a buzz. Talk good about me, talk bad about me, just talk about me. Until I hear it from Sting's mouth and until I see what goes down on TV, I'm not going to buy what someone thinks, what I think, what someone else assumes. I have facts. Okay, Duke says Ultimate Warrior was 55 when he passed. All right, 5 years difference. You know, 5 years is a lot of years, but that's not much different to 60. So Sting has earned my trust. Because again, from the 80s to now, I can't think ever a time where I said, what the fuck is Sting thinking? Seriously, can you think of a time? Some of the things here and there might have been a little bit shy. Nobody was complaining about him versus Rollins until he got hurt. And because of the buckle bomb. And if that buckle bomb didn't happen and he didn't get hurt, nobody would have bitched that he was in the ring. I brought up Ricky Steamboat. Ricky Steamboat, if I remember correctly, was older than Sting versus Rollins. Ricky Steamboat might have been 56. And I don't remember anybody at that time saying, oh, look at him, he's got no hair, it's like bald, and he looks, please, stay retired. Why are you doing it? Everybody loved it. Everybody loved it. The only difference between Ricky Steamboat and now is all this social media explosion where everybody is just desperate for hits and attention. That's why I'm staying away from it. Damn that buckle bomb. I agree with you, James. But, yeah, Sting is 61. 61. We'll see what happens. But I leave you with this. I like Tony Khan. I made some jokes from time to time. Some of the jokes fell flat. Some of them were funny. But I truly believe His heart is in the right place. He loves wrestling. He wants to see this succeed. And it's refreshing to have someone who is really working extremely hard, to make it work. Yes, he's not God. Yes, he's going to make mistakes, and he's going to make unforced errors. Absolutely. It's a learning experience still. And I think he had a massive unforced error this week. Did you all see this tweet? When the ratings came out yesterday, he writes, "Thank you, great fans who made AEW Dynamite Winter is Coming a huge success for AEW and TNT. We got our best demo rating of 2020, a new AEW champion, an indelible memory with Sting's arrival, and won the night." He has every right to talk about demos, not WrestlingAsshole.com, because they manipulate the numbers to make it benefit who they enjoy. So far, everything that Tony Khan said, he has every right to celebrate. My problem, why are you putting NXT's numbers in there? Why are you ignoring? What? Just focus on your own shit. You have, for a year, Cody and others saying, we're not in competition. We want just, if we do good, then it helps everybody. To me, I know he can't resist about the ratings war, but you can't turn around and have Cody and yourself and all these other people, Kenny Omega and others, saying, no, there's no ratings war, there's no this. Yeah, it's friendly competition, everything. But then you poke the bear by showing this. I mean, that's what you're doing. You're poking the bear. You're poking the bear. And in my honest opinion, Tony Khan's really got to learn. WWE, let's be honest, everyone. WWE has Raw, SmackDown, NXT, all the performance centers. They got legends themselves. They got other people. You got Austin Gray on NXT. You got Jake Atlas and Tony Nese on NXT. You got the grizzled young veterans on NXT. You keep poking that bear, and WWE says, you know what? Let's fucking waste this company. And they start throwing fucking Sasha Banks. They throw Charlotte. They throw this person. They throw this person. They do an invasion storyline. They do this. They do that. They do this. And then every week, you got Daniel Bryan on NXT this week. You got Kevin Owens here. What's going to happen? You're going to have great episodes of NXT, and you know what's going to say? You're going to have these goofs online that are going to say, oh, you see the desperation in WWE? They're now putting all of their regular rosters because they can't handle that AEW is beating them in the ratings. If it's a good fucking show, what do you care? I mean, it sounds like people out there don't want NXT to win in the ratings. Because if this, you can't have it. You cannot have it where AEW brass says, oh, if we do good and that forces NXT's hand, then we all do good. It's better for wrestling. It's better for everybody. But then NXT does it, and then it's not better for everybody. I personally think, WWE, it's all about business. All right, it's all about business. But if you pay attention to the numbers, AEW hasn't been knocking it out of the park either. People watching TV overall is on a decline. But I'm telling you, man, you think of the fact that Ember Moon, Raquel Gonzalez, Shotzi Blackheart, Io Shirai, they're banging 850 to 900,000 viewers. And if WWE starts saying, you know what? Let's fucking throw all the stars on TV for the next month or two. Let's do fucking more Halloween Havoc type things. Let's just put all the all-stars out there for the next month or two. And NXT wins almost every single week. What are you going to do? I mean, people are they going to say, oh, well, this is better for wrestling. Now it forces AEW's hand, and all of us wrestling fans could enjoy it. You go back to the ratings from this past week. What nobody pointed out is when you look at the ratings from this past week, when you add up the quarter hour of AEW when it peaked versus NXT for the quarter hour, you had 1.6, over 1.6 million viewers tuning in. That's 200,000 to 300,000 more viewers. So I'm telling you, Tony Khan has every right to brag about his company, celebrate its company. The Sting moment was excellent. The storyline with Impact has me a little bit intrigued, but don't mention NXT. Don't name drop it. Don't put your numbers next to them, because if anybody, I'm going to leave you with this, because I guarantee you almost all of you out there are not aware of this. If you want to have a good laugh, I give you permission this time. Go on Twitter and find that tweet that Tony Khan posted. Just look at the responses, because the blue check marks are usually the ones that will come up first every time. And go check out Shayna Baszler's wise-ass remark to Tony Khan. And go check out some of the other WWE wrestlers who gave it back to Tony Khan with some funny-ass shit. Shayna Baszler said something like, winter is coming? I love how these people in Florida are bitching about winter. It's just, but you look at it over and over again. You start making WWE and NXT wrestlers take this personal, I'm telling you, you start seeing Shayna Baszler show up on NXT and WWE says, let's just fucking go balls out and just show these people that in the snap of a finger, we could turn NXT. I'm not saying it's good overall for NXT. I'm just saying, focus on why you're good, not that the other person is bad. I'm telling you, shit like that, big mistake. I remember Dixie Carter when they had that move to Monday night and Hogan made his TNA debut on TV. And I think his appearance wasn't that quarter hour like 2.6 million people. They had over 2 million people tune in to see Hogan's debut in TNA. And within a couple of weeks, the ratings nosedived and they were forced off of Monday nights. I'm telling you, it's not to that level here, but all I'm saying is that you force NXT's hand. NXT and WWE have a much deeper roster than AEW does. And what are you going to do? Go to MLW next and then, try to work out an invasion angle with them? And then what are you going to do? Go to Ring of Honor next? And then you're going to go to I'm telling you, WWE's got so much deeper of a roster and experience that, what are you going to do? Tease the Inner Circle are going to kill each other the following week? They're going to have sex with each other? They're going to divorce? They're going to get married? They're going to realign? They're going to break up? Like, you keep teasing these ultimatums. Sooner or later, they run out. So I'm telling you, I commend AEW for the win this week. And I don't work for a wrestling company right now, but someone who I think I've done pretty good in the business side, you got to worry about what makes you good and not poke the bear of somebody that, is not doing as well. Especially, look, if there was no other company other than NXT, if NXT was not involved with WWE, Raw, or SmackDown, then that's different. That's different. But it also looks kind of dopey that you do an invasion angle with a company that only draws 160,000 viewers. So I don't know, man. I don't know. But I think Tony Khan has every reason to celebrate, but I thought that was a major faux pas on his part. So anyway, with that said, everybody, I'm going to jet out of here. I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. We had a lot of fun, some great discussion. And, post your comments. Let me know what you thought about SmackDown, what you think's going to happen on NXT TakeOver War Games, about the ratings. Anything stand out to you? I think for people out there that bitch about women's wrestling not having more attention or not going further, I saw what Medusa wrote, but Medusa's original, and I love Medusa, but Medusa's original argument was women getting equal time with the men on TV. On NXT, the women are surpassing even the men as far as ratings go. Now it's shifted to, what about the legendary women? The women of yesteryear. And I agree with her. But the point is, if Lita or Trish Stratus or someone else is not going to return to the ring, does a female manager pop a rating? Has Vicky Guerrero popped a rating? And, it's a little confusing. But my point is, for people out there that bitch about women's wrestling not getting its due, here's two perfect examples week after week where NXT women blew everything else away on NXT. But nobody talks about it. Go figure. Everyone, have a great weekend. Stay safe. Much love as always. As I say in closing, as I always do, if you enjoyed tonight's show, give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comment section if you had any buffering issues tonight, because I really, like I said, Wednesday night, I wasn't going to sleep until I fixed this problem. I think I got it pretty much hammered away. There's a couple little other tweaks that I can do. I could, increase, certain codecs and stuff like that, but I think I got a nice balance overall. But everyone be well. Stay safe. If you watch War Games, enjoy it. I will be back Sunday night after War Games with your recap. And when you see the post for the pay-per-view recap, I will let you all know right away if Mish is going to be doing with me or not, because I am going to DM him tonight. So before you go, I'd appreciate it if you give the episode a thumbs up. If you didn't like the episode, give it a thumbs down. Just be interactive, because believe me when I tell you, I have no clue with a lot of these algorithms. I'll tell you something really, really funny before you go. Do you know, yesterday, I did a search on YouTube for breakfast soup because I wanted to see where it would show up in the search results, and I found nothing. I kid you not, I found nothing. And I was saying to myself, how could that be? I mean, I've done a lot of breakfast soup episodes already for Mondays. Why is it not showing up? And I realized that on my hashtags that you all don't see for the most part, I never put breakfast soup in the hashtags. Like, I would put everything that I was covering, but I never put the name of the freaking show. So nothing came up. So I had to go back and every breakfast soup episode put hashtag breakfast soup. The Don Tony show, I did a search. Nothing came up except for one or two episodes. I had to go back and add hashtag Don Tony show on every episode, not realizing that that's how the search. So like I said, there's so much that I don't know still with YouTube. And I appreciate all of you that DM me or post a comment or email me and give me little pointers here and there. It's definitely helped a lot. I have nobody helping me with this stuff. Nobody. There's been people who have said they were going to help, and I realized they didn't even know what they were doing themselves. So I'm doing this by myself, and I'm going to grow as we go along. I'll figure things out here and there, but definitely your interaction definitely helps me get a little bit more exposure on YouTube. So, but everyone, be well, have a great weekend, and I'll catch you Sunday night after NXT TakeOver, or if that doesn't appeal to you, Monday night, Breakfast Soup Raw with Mish, and the name will show up on the search result. So, good night, everybody. Take care, be well, all the best. I'll talk to you Sunday night. Ciao.